Hi, I'm Dr. Kyle Burton with Healthy Paws Herbal Labs. I wanted to make a video and show you just how easy it is to make your own pet food. There's also a lot of benefits in making your own pet food. One of the first benefits is it's all whole foods. You know exactly what's going in your pet's meal. There's no preservatives, there's no fillers, there's no crazy ingredients that you've never heard of. This is really beneficial, especially if your pet has food allergies and you don't know what it is. This gives you complete control of what they're eating. The other benefit is it actually can be inexpensive. This is produce that I probably am not going to eat. We go to the store, we buy a bunch of produce, and it sits in the drawer, and at the end of the week, it's gross and smelly and wet, and you throw it out, right? And that's a waste of money. So this is an opportunity for you to save money and not throw those veggies out and actually use them for your pet instead. I use balanceit.com to enter in the veggies that I have, the protein that I'm going to use, the oils, the grains, and they come up with the recipe for you. So it makes it really simple. It tells you exactly how much of each food you're going to need to make it sure that it's nutritionally well-rounded. And they also sell a supplement that you add to the food to make sure that there's no nutritional deficiencies that might be happening. So if you do end up cooking for your pet long-term, I really highly suggest purchasing Balanceit so that there's no nutritional deficiencies. So today we're going to be using some barley as the grain. Barley is very cooling, and I'm going to make another video about the temperatures of the food, but every food has a temperature associated with it, and barley is cooling. Ginger is warming, and that's pretty easy to know. But every food has a temperature, and some are neutral, some are cold, some are cool, some are warm, some are hot. And what we want to make sure is if we have a hot dog, not a hot dog, but if your dog is hot, we don't want to be feeding them a lot of warm grains or warm proteins and things like that. But we'll go over that in another video. So we also have some blueberries. Blueberries are really beneficial. They're high in antioxidants. They're good for the brain. I believe there's some anti-cancer properties as well. We do have some shiitake mushrooms, and I'll be honest, this isn't in my drawer at the end of the week. I don't purchase this for myself. I don't like the consistency and the texture, but they're extremely healthy. There's a lot of research on anti-cancer properties. I do take mushrooms, but in a capsule. That way I can bypass the taste and the texture. But they are very healthy, so I do recommend mushrooms. Some spinach here, and Balanceit will tell you which veggies you need to cook and which ones you can do raw. And spinach needs to be cooked because the iron in spinach won't get released until you cook it. So if I were to eat this raw, I'm really not going to absorb the iron that it contains, unfortunately. But that's all laid out in Balanceit. So it's really simple and tells you what you need to do. I've got some broccoli here and some yams. So a yam is very different from a sweet potato. Sweet potatoes do not have phytoestrogen, and yams do have phytoestrogen. And estrogen is very important, especially if your pet is spayed. Estrogen is an anti-inflammatory. It's good for cardiovascular health. It's good for hypertension. It's good for bone health. It helps regulate the mood. My human patients during menopause, they might experience anxiety, depression, insomnia. So having those phytoestrogen to fill in any estrogen gaps are really beneficial. And I always use broccoli along with the yams because broccoli will help the body convert any excess estrogen, because too much estrogen can also be bad as well, right? I use Nordic fish oil. It's an omega-3 oil. Most of the protein I use is red meat, and red meat is high in omega-6s, and you want to make sure your pet is getting all the omegas. So this is really great to fill in that gap there. Fish oil is also really beneficial for the skin. I have a French bulldog that the skin can get really irritated pretty easily, and this really helps keep it calm down. Also, the texture of the coat is really nice too. I've noticed a big change with that. And I got some beef, Balanceit, and as far as cooking utensils, you can get away with just one large pan. You can brown the beef in here, you can boil your veggies, you can cook your grains in here. I do have a crock pot that I use to brown and cook the meat. And I do use a blender for the veggies. So when I'm done cooking the vegetables, I combine the cooked vegetables with the raw vegetables and fruits, and I blend it. My dog Ginger does not like vegetables, and she will eat around the vegetables. So in order to get her to eat her vegetables, I have to blend them and mix them in with the protein and the meat. So I sneak it in there. She doesn't know. Um, okay, I think that's it. You do need a scale because Balance It will tell you exactly how much of each food you're going to use. You can also change the amount of food that you're going to make. So you can do, a meal for a day, or what I do is I typically make food for 2 weeks. That way I'm in the kitchen for maybe an hour or two, but that's going to last for about 2 weeks. Any food that's going to you just put in the freezer, right? You can keep a couple days worth out in the fridge, put the rest in the freezer. It'll last you for a while. I think that's it. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are at balanceit.com. It's fairly simple to use. You've got your proteins here, your carbs, the oils and fats, veggies, and the fruit. So when you go through your fridge and find out what you have, you just enter it in here. We're going to be using the beef. Got some barley. We're going to use the sweet potato, even though it's yams. They are nutritionally similar. I know we talked about the phytoestrogen, but there is no yams as an option. The oils, we're going to choose the Nordic omega-3. For veggies, we've got zucchini, we've got spinach, mushrooms, carrots, broccoli, and for the fruits, I got an apple and some blueberries. You don't have to have this much of a variety of different foods. I just happen to, so that's what I'm going to use. If you have more, you can add more. If you have less, you can add less. It'll tell you if it's not enough to complete their nutrition essentials. So this says, this may look, that's not it, that's fine. They just changed their website a little bit. It gives you options here. So if you're on a higher protein, a mid-protein, or more of a higher carb, you can choose each one. And then if you go to the edit button, you can enter in your pet's weight. My pet's about 35 pounds, and I'm not going to do a daily meal. I'm going to do 2 weeks worth. Calorie distribution, whether you want calories more from protein or fat, looks good to me. And we're going to just click on here, and it's going to create this special recipe here based on everything that I just entered. I'm going to hit view. And it's calculating everything that you're going to need. And here is your recipe for custom healthy adult dog homemade recipe. So you've got things in grams here, you've got things in cups over here. So how are we going to measure it out? The barley is cooked, sweet potato, the yam, you're going to bake it, I boil mine. The squash, you're going to boil. Spinach, you got to cook. Mushrooms, also boil. Carrots are going to be raw. Broccoli is going to be boiled, and apples are raw, and blueberries are raw. So this is everything you need to do. So what I'm going to start doing is measuring out the food. Here is just a quick shot of the beef in the crock pot. Pretty simple, so not going to spend too much time here. Just make sure you really break up the beef so that it cooks evenly through. Okay, I got my knife, I got my scale, I got my veggies. I'm going to put the veggies that do not need to be cooked in the blender, and the ones that I'm going to boil, I'm going to put in this pan over here. I'm going to start with the yams because they're going to take a little bit longer to cook, so I'm going to add them to the boiling water first. Then I'll cut up the rest of the veggies, and then at the last end, I will add the spinach. Spinach doesn't take that much time to cook, only like about 5 minutes, even less. And we don't want to overcook the veggies because then they're going to lose some of their nutritional value too. But what I do is keep the water that you boil the veggies in, and I'm going to use that water as the liquid for the grains that I'm going to cook. So even if it does lose some of the nutrients in the water, the grains are going to absorb them. Okay, let's get started. Measure it first, right? Okay, the veggies are almost done cooking. I'm going to strain them out and put them in the blender and blend them with the fruit and the fish oil. And I'm going to keep the reserve stock to use it for the barley. Barley is a 1-to-3 ratio. So for every 1 cup of barley, you need 3 cups of water. So I've got 2 cups here, so I'm going to need 6 cups of broth. I will fill up the broth up to here, and if I don't have enough, I'll just add extra water to it. Okay, the vegetables and the fruit and the oil is blended. The barley and the beef is a cooking. So it takes about 30 minutes for the barley, and the beef's probably got about another hour. So this is when you can do some chores around the house. You can start doing a little bit of cleanup with the stuff that you use to cook, or you can go outside and play with your pet. Okay, and everything is coming to an end here. The barley is finished cooking, the meat is finished cooking. I mixed that beef really well so everything's ground up. I'm going to combine everything into the pot, give it a really good mix so everything's all evenly distributed. And then I've got my glass Tupperware. I'm going to have the smaller one ready for the fridge, and then I'm going to put the rest in the larger one, and I'm going to put it in the freezer. Here's my shameless plug also for the herbs. Healthy Paws Herbal Labs is a pet line basically for all of your pet basic essential needs. We've got things for allergies, anxiety, urinary tract infections. We also have one just for longevity too. So even if your pet isn't sick, which hopefully they're not, and you still want to give them something beneficial, there are longevity herbs that increase the immune system, helps cardiovascular, helps the kidneys and the liver, and helps brain function too. So this is a good time. You can also add the herbs to the food, and comes with an easy dosage. Directions are in the bottle. Comes with a syringe too to easily measure it out. And this would be a good time to add the herbs into the food as well. Shameless plug. I know, I'm sorry. What can I say? I'm going to spare you the mixing, but I'm going to show you the finished result.
I mean, if this wasn't in a dog bowl, I'd eat it. I mean, look at that. That is delicious. They are going to be so excited to eat. I mean, they already are. Okay, and then I just finish it off with the balance it. And now they are both waiting. And if you zoom in on Little Duck, you'll actually see he's got some drool hanging out. He's starving. He just loves the smell of his homemade food. There's a good boy. Ginger's a good girl. She won't know she's getting any veggies. Oh, I didn't say veggies. No, just pure protein, I swear.
Okay, dogs are fed, the food is in the fridge. Thanks for sticking around. For some of the health benefits that I mentioned, I have listed my sources at the description of the video on YouTube. So you can check those out. I hope you've learned something today. Please like and subscribe. Share it along with any of your friends that might be interested in cooking their own pet food. And I will be doing more videos on cooking, especially from a traditional Chinese medicine point of view. We'll be discussing some of the energetics of the food, like I mentioned earlier with the temperatures. And if you're looking for any natural health solutions as well, you can check out my herbal pet line, healthypawsherballabs.com. And I think that's it. So thank you so much for staying here, and have a good rest of your day.